Hey, podcast listeners, ready to level up your career game? This podcast is brought to you by Granular Level, your ultimate TMF professionals. Need a killer CV? A magnetic LinkedIn profile? Eager to learn the eTMF or expert advice on mock interviews? Don't just dream it, achieve it with Granular Level. Let's craft your success story together. TMF Daily enthusiasts, today we're talking about finding your why. Some people spend a lifetime searching for their purpose and finding their why. This topic is extremely important when you're looking to get your foot in the door in the TMF industry. It's imperative to truly know what position you want for the long-term goal and mapping out how you're going to get there and stay motivated. Well, the guest I have today is going to give us great insight on finding your why in clinical research and why it's important to know what you are good at and stay focused on your goals. John Nocero is the Director of Quality and Compliance at Siegel Trials in Miami Lakes, Florida. He leads a 15-person quality crew responsible for all things quality, regulatory, education, training, and compliance. He's been blogging with me about clinical research on LinkedIn since 2017. He's inspired by the Irish professional wrestler Becky Lynch, whose personal story centers on achievement, tenacity, grit, and overcoming adversity. She epitomizes being the man in your own life, and John is going, in his words, actually, he's reached Becky Level in 2024. John, welcome to the TMF Daily Podcast.
Dude, thank you. I tell you what, that introduction was so epic. Way above it. I mean, I knew it was going to be like that. And we're starting at we're 1 minute and 32 in. Not only have you been my collaborator and my writing partner for 7 years, and it's so crazy to think it's been 7 years, dude.
It's wild.
It is nuts. I am so excited for this. We are raw and unapologetically us. I'm looking forward to this. I am ready. Let's do it.
So we're going to be kicking off this podcast with a powerhouse question. So Let's just rewind the clock, go back, unpack the beginning of your journey in clinical research. Like, take us back to the moment. How'd you get your foot in the door? What were the circumstances, decisions, or perhaps a mentor that paved the way to get your step into the world of clinical research? Just walk us through that chapter that set the stage for where you are today.
Sure. So my undergrad, Nick, is communications. And when I first got out of school, my goal was always to be a DJ. Strangely enough, and I know you won't believe this, I was painfully shy growing up. Painful. Like I couldn't talk to people, but I loved the radio because it was one-way communication, right? It was just one way out, and you couldn't say anything back to me. So I got into that, and I did that for a while, and I moved to Cleveland, and I was working at a trade publication, and I didn't like being rewritten. And my wife at the time was in healthcare. So I went home, and I was asking her what she was doing, and she was working at Cleveland Clinic. She said, hey, you research a lot of stories. You ever thought about going into clinical research? And Nick, I didn't know what that was. Like, at the time, I didn't know anything about allied healthcare professionals, right? This was back in 2003. And I always thought everything was doctors and nurses. So I had a chance to interview with a clinical research program manager named Ingrid Kobe, who was at the clinic there. And she didn't hire me the first time. So it was weird. I did not get that position. And she called me back like 6 weeks later. There was an entry-level clinical research administrative position that opened, and I took it. And I got in, and I was very lucky. At the time, I think back to the crew that I had there, and they were welcoming, they were nurturing. Someone who didn't know anything about healthcare, like, I couldn't have gone to a better place. And from that point, I knew that healthcare was what I wanted to do. Definitely paid better than media did. And that was a big factor at the time. And once I ended up working my way up the track, then for me, it was game on. And, looking back on it, that was definitely a seminal moment in my career and why I did what I did.
That's how you found your why.
I just found my why. So you want to know, okay, I have never told this story to you.
I don't think so.
I didn't find my why there. I just found my why. So it was August of 2023. And I had someone amazingly significant in my life. I blamed myself for the first 2 days, and then I got to work. And I've been in the pathway of professional development for a long time. But for some reason, Nick, I always thought I could drown the demons, and yet they were always swimming. It took this event for me, which was life-changing, because when you have someone that's so significant that leaves, you kind of blame it on yourself a little bit. So I stepped back, and I'll admit, I was sad for the first 2 days. Then I got to work, right? And then I started to figure out, where did I go wrong? What part did I play in this? Where could I have shown up better? Where could I have been more authentic? What did I do? Did I say something? Like all of it. When you have buried so much of that emotional pain for a long time, it starts what I call like the ick comes out. Like you start digging and you're like, I don't want any of this, right? But you got to go through it. I was going through it. So what I said was, and I remembered advice that I got a long time ago. What if everything you knew was wrong? What if that everything you learned up to this point was wrong? I had to change everything. I had to reprogram my entire operating system. I had to think about what I did, why I did it, how I treated people, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, all of it. I started with push-up videos with you, because I was like going through a physical, and you threw just a thing out at me once about, hey, you think you could do a handstand? I was like, yeah, I can do a handstand. And then, oh my God, I did a handstand. And then you asked for a one-arm push-up, and I did that too. And like we were just going through, and then once the momentum came. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they just told me, Nick, about how they had a friend of theirs that recently passed away. And I was listening to him, and I said, I'm sorry, I got to go make a phone call. I picked up the phone and I called the person who had left. And I said, you got enough space? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about what happened? That was the initial conversation. Words got said on both sides. A lot of forgiveness, a lot of love. And why this is significant and why this is my why. You realize there are some people in your life that are irreplaceable. But do they know that? And it really, Nick, it doesn't matter what they say as long as you speak your truth to them. And you and I have had this conversation over things I've said to you a number of times. But I'm never apologizing for any of it because it's true. When someone leaves your life, the first thing you do is Google how to get them back. Right? It's true. Tell me it's not true. So, in the middle of all that garbage of fake lines and scripts and all whatever, there's a golden nugget of advice by a guy named Max Jankar who said this. Instead of running some sort of game, why don't you turn yourself into a really attractive person and attract them back? That's how you get somebody back. So, when you do that, and then magic starts to happen. And the work goes on yourself. And you push, and you push, and you push, and you don't stop. I had a calendar. Every day I didn't talk to him. Kid you not, I made an Excel calendar. I went 86 days. So anyone that ever tells you that a true radical transformation can't be done or it takes 3 years, no. It takes 86 days. I know because I did it. So, I think of it now as the why because I found it because I realize now that, there are people that are irreplaceable. There are people I don't want to lose. There are people that I want in my life all the time. And how do you keep them? Tell the truth. Be honest. Hold your frame. As you taught me. Trust the process. Let them go. If they come back, I treated it like a death. I really did. Because obviously the way that I had shown up didn't work. But I didn't do it for them. I did it for me. So when I think now, they help me find my worth. Not in the TMF, Nick. As a person, where I can sit here and say, I am levels above and everybody knows it. Because it's true. Kevin Peak, who we got to give a shout out to today because on LinkedIn he posts, I write Becky Level. John, shouldn't you say I am her? Yeah, I am her. So, to me, you think of it that way. And when someone helps you inadvertently find your worth, you don't gamble with that. You love them, you protect them, you honor them, and you truly sit back and reevaluate the spot they have in your life. That's how I found my why, which is probably to you totally different than what you thought it was going to be, right? But
yes,
you knew it was a story, right? It's always, because here's the thing, I think back to this. We probably together, how many articles have you written? Like 500 already? And what are the ones, at least, and what are the ones that stand out for us? The stories, right? Like you think of our most popular pieces we've ever done. Hook, Look Sharp, Shallow.
The ones where we were authentically raw.
Yes, and it was the story about it. I think that. And, I've watched you grow into the TMF expert that you are. I mean, I'm honored to share the stage with you. I'm honored to present with you. I'm honored to write with you every day, everything we do. And I think back to how we met. I remember I was just being me, dude. I was just being me because I remember I asked you, and I was at Duke at the time, and it was like the middle of the afternoon, and we had never talked before. So, nope, I called you, just a regular networking call. Hey, I'm down here in North Carolina. I just getting Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. And I remember asking you, and I do not know what possessed me to ask. Do you have any regrets, career, Nick? Anything you want to do? And you said, I've always wanted to write. And I said, well, let's write something. And you were like, what? I was like, yeah, let's just put it together. Okay, so here's how the magic happened. And this isn't what you expected.
No.
So I think I besieged you with like 20 pieces because I had so many ideas that I wanted to go with. But I needed, I'll admit something to you in a public forum because that's how we do it. I needed you. There's a thing for me that things happen for a reason. I can never tell the story of my career unless I'm looking backwards, right? I always want to look forward and move forward. But when you look back, that again was a pivotal moment for both of us. Because then we started writing and then we wrote on, I don't even know how many blogs we did or how many pieces or how many people came and found us or all of that.
Positive vibes.
Grateful for all of that, right? So then you look at it and you say, that was one of those moments that changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to do it, and we continue to change the game all the time. So, no, that could have been your why. Who knows? But we never know what would happen if we never met. And here's the best part. And I think the audience needs to know that we've never met. Like, for real.
Never.
This is a relationship for 7 years. We have never met. Right? So, one day, 2024, yes. But, I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine it any other way. Could you?
No. And I'm loving this topic of finding your why, especially like in clinical research, because there's so many people out there that, I don't know about you, but when they reach out to me, they're like, okay, I want to be a CRC, a CRA, or a CTA, which are very different roles. And when you try to find out like what's your why in clinical research and where you want to keep your eye on the tiger, like what's your advice to people who are looking to get into clinical research?
I just talked to someone. I don't even know what's today. I don't even know what today is. It's Wednesday.
Wednesday the 17th.
I talked to someone yesterday, and they were asking me the same question, and I said, "What do you want to do?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, you got to figure that out." It's astounding to me. It's astounding to me. I sit here. How many people have no idea what they want to do?
They just want to work in clinical research.
I just want to work in research, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you not know what it is that you want to do? Like, and maybe it's different now, because the older I get, the more I value the time. Like every morning I wake up now and literally, well, I wake up at 2:30 because of the seminal moment of finding my wife happened at 2:30 in the morning. So I remember it. I will wake up that time every day till the day I die. But I realize something, Nick, we're all going to die, right? And it's all going to happen. So why not spend it doing the things you love to do? But how do you know what those are? You got to figure it out. It's amazing. That's the first thing I would tell somebody is, what do you want to do and why do you want to do it? Why clinical research? Why do you want to get in? Are you pivoting from your career? Were you inspired by something? You just want to try something new? Like, what is it? Whatever it is, figure it out and then go do that. But then do it every day for the rest of your life. I was talking to a new hire, and she asked me, she said, what are you doing tonight? It was last night. She said, what are you doing next time? I said, I'm going to work out and I'm going to work. She said, you're working out again? I said, yeah. I work out twice a day. And she's like, wow. And I said, no, it's not a wow. She said, what do you mean? I said, and you've heard me say this, motivation's garbage. Like, it's really discipline, right? So if you work out twice a day, if you drink water, if you eat clean, you don't drink alcohol, you don't use heroin, you're going to look good. You're just going to look good. So for me, it's just knowing what the result is and then doing something every day to get me there and staying on the same track over and over and over, just doing that. That's it. So, I mean, when we'll get done, I'll work out and then I'll look at email and then I'll go to bed. And it's just what you do, right?
That's your routine.
You have to. Like, you have to have a routine. Like, I get up, 2:30, work out, check my email. Okay, I play Words with Friends, kind of. Don't challenge me, because I don't want to play a new game. I have people I play, and I'd rather just keep it there. And then, I'll wake up. I'll go back to bed for about a half hour, just rest, meditate.
That's bad.
Here's what it is. Here's why I go back. So I go back and I reset. Okay, so we worked out. Okay, let the endorphins come down. Okay, so what's the day going to be? Okay, let's sit here in the dark and let's close our eyes and let's think about the day. Okay, I got meeting today. I got an inspector. Whatever. Think about it. Plan it out in my head. Think about how it's going to go. Wake up. Now, I'm in Miami, so it's wake up from the hotel, grab the hotel breakfast, drive to the office, stay there until now, work out, look at email, fall asleep, and do it again. And do it on the weekend. Because to me, I may have told you this. I didn't come here to meet Dwayne Wade. I don't want to hang out with Pitbull. I don't care. I'm here because I know why I'm here, and I'm here to work, right? So it's again back to finding the why. There's a part of me that believes in that integrity now. Why are you down here? Is it to prove something to you, or is it to prove something to someone else? If it's to prove something to you, you're going to hold it, and you're going to do it every day. And if you do something like that, it does prove something to someone else. If you focus on you, other people do too. They really do. But you know what? You're too busy doing what you need to do. You don't even worry about it. You don't. Why would you?
You're right. So let's talk about the trial master file a little bit. So we know the backbone of clinical trials, yet sometimes it doesn't get the spotlight it deserves. So how do quality and compliance efforts intersect with the management of the TMF?
I think for me, TMF and I think oatmeal. Oatmeal's not sexy. It's not a sexy breakfast. It just isn't. But you know what you get, right? You get quality nutrition. You're going to be full for the next 4 hours. You can put some brown sugar, some raisins or something in there. It'll be delicious. That's really what the TMF is. It's not sexy. It's documents. But do you need all those documents? Mm-hmm. Do you need the financial disclosures? Do you need the protocol signature pages? Do you need all the versions of the protocol? Do you need all the training? Yes. I think people get so enamored sometimes with the actual source data, and it's important. Going through any audit or inspection, participant safety, data integrity, that's it. But they always look at the reg binder first. You ever notice that? And any inspection, and generally, every time. People are like, oh, they're going to take the time getting into the source. No. They're looking to see if you have all the documents first. If you don't have the documents, that sets the tone. If the protocols are out of order, if they can't find the signature page, if you don't have a protocol amendment, if the IB isn't in there, you don't have everything from all the sites, sets the tone for the site. Like, oh, they can't even keep the reg binder in order? Okay, what's their source going to look like? So people don't think of it like that, right? So perception's reality, Nick. Like, every time, everybody is looking all the time. So show up. Show up every day. Just do that. Show up, do your absolute best every day, and then come back and do it tomorrow.
So can you share with our audience the critical role quality plays in ensuring the integrity of the trial master file?
I'm going to pick the role of the quality department, and I'm going to go collaboration. And you know, I'm not heavy-handed. I'm not a heavy-handed compliance leader. I lead by example. I empower my team. I let them make their own decisions, and I support them all the time. But the one thing I will always stress is you have to collaborate with the PIs, the coordinators, all of it. You're not the police. You're not the attack dog. You're not the creeper and coming around to say you got you. Because ultimately, if the FDA comes in, then they're looking at all of you. Why didn't quality do this job and tech and find it? So for me, is I look at it. The job of quality is supporting the work of the site and the PI and the CRC to make sure they have everything they need and do a regular QC. Get to know your CRC. Get to know the relationship with the PI. Because if your CRC has a bad relationship with the PI, chances are something's going to be wrong with the documents. It's weird. It's weird how that happens. You get to know them. You establish a relationship with them. And then here's the weirdest thing. You don't have to look. They come to you. Hey, you're never going to believe this, Nick. Something going on with TMF. Can you come check it out? Happened. And what did we say a long time ago? The goal was be the Buddha. And you think about the Buddha, right? Buddha doesn't have to run around saying he's the Buddha.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes I think in clinical research, it's like we're afraid of the QA department. Like they're going to find something wrong. We're going to get in trouble.
I still hear, yeah,
and we
I
don't,
hear that.
like, you guys are the bad guys. I mean, really, you're on our team.
We're always on your team. Now, you know I have no problem ever wearing the black hat, ever. Because I always say Jesse James is the fastest gun in the West, but he gets no credit for that because, I mean, he was a gangster. However, in the clinical research world, quality is not gangsters. Like, they're not rogue. I think, and this is me, this is just me being me now, not as a professional. I think some of them, they check the box. I had an analogy about box checking. I remember talking to somebody, and I was like, but I check all the boxes.
We wrote about this.
Yeah, remember when I wrote, there's no boxes around my heart. You can't check that box. So when you are a quality professional trying to check the boxes, yeah, you can use the TMF checklist. But do you know why something isn't in there? It's not there. Go find it. Well, do you know the story behind it and where it is? Oh, you don't? You need to find that out. So much of that time, people are like, well, I didn't do it, and or we did it. It's checked off. How many times have you seen documents that are checked off, but you try to find them in the TMF, and it's so horribly unorganized, you can't find them. So, okay, you got them, great. You can't find them? Okay, are you going to present that to an auditor? What are they going to say?
Right.
So, right, again, as I look at it, it is, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, why do you do that? Sometimes people, Nick, they don't have, and they think they should.
You're absolutely right, John. So many might not fully grasp like the intricacies of your role. Break it down for us. So like, how does maintaining quality and compliance directly impact the success of a clinical trial, especially the TMF?
Okay, so for me, where the department I'm at, I run, and I have an amazing team. I have an amazing associate director. She's my partner. I'm the director of quality and compliance, and she's regulatory and compliance. And I tell you what, I had never had a professional person in my life who I connected with from a philosophical approach faster than her.
Aww.
So I came in, and all of a sudden it was like, did Superman just meet the Hulk? Because if so, wow. right? Like superheroes just united. So to me, I think it's a lot. There's a lot that impacts it. It's the relationships. Like you talk a lot about people not looking at quality. It's the relationships that you play. How you interact with people. Are you approachable? You write about this all the time. It's that likability factor. Do people like you? Right? It's true.
I was just about to say it. Yep.
It is so true. If people like you, they want to do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's also true in quality. If people don't like you, they will not come tell you things. And then who's the problem there? It's you. Because you didn't take the time to learn their story. Like that's the thing for me. Even though quality's in the house, it's not your house really. It's the PI's house. You're the guest. It's your job not to rearrange his furniture. So when you look at it that way, you say, why don't I want them to like me? Right? So from quality perspective, there's quality control, there's quality assurance, there's education, there's training, there's compliance, there's advocacy, there's internal consultants, there's data, there's metrics. I mean, I can keep going. But ultimately, the success of the quality department rises and falls on the relationships they've built within the organization.
So let's talk about sort of conflict resolution. And you're pretty good at this.
Thank you.
Say you're working with someone who you just can't seem to get along with. And like, how do you handle that? Where there's like a personality difference.
So can I be 100% authentic?
Yeah.
Do I not like them or do I hate them? There's a difference. There's a difference.
You have a hard time working with them.
Okay, fair enough. So they're difficult. They're a difficult person.
Difficult.
Right? Okay. So if someone's difficult and I'm there, I try to figure out why. Like, what is the story? Why are you emotionally expensive? Why are you so difficult to work with that everyone here dislikes you? Is it because you got passed over for a promotion 10 years ago and you're still dealing with it? You know, people many times treat you not only as you invite them to treat you, but also how they see themselves. Now, you taught me that a long time ago, and I finally had to go and find it. That's what I found. Like, here's why your wisdom is so amazing. Because, no, it's true. Because you'll tell me something and you make me think. Going back to your example, what do you do with someone who's difficult? You think. Why are they being so difficult? How do we get the work done still, whether it's whatever, right? I'll tell a story of a difficult PI who was going through an FDA inspection. And I called him up. Hey, blah, 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 so-and-so, man. John, I appreciate it, but I don't need a chaperone. And I said, no, you don't understand. My job is to protect you and the company. Let's try this again. That's literally what I said. Because you know I said that.
Right.
You know I said that. So you set the tone, right? You set the tone. If you have somebody who disrespects everyone else in the office but does not disrespect me, I don't have a problem. We're able to work with you. Now, I'm going to work with them to make sure you don't disrespect everybody else, right? But that respect is earned. Mm-hmm. Like, that really is. If you go in and you set the tone, they won't do anything to you because they know that's not why you're there. You're not there to be difficult. But I'll tell you this, too. Some people just like to stir it up, right? As Alfred said in The Dark Knight, some people just like to watch the world burn. The Joker wasn't a normal criminal. He wasn't. He wasn't trying to steal stuff. He was trying to wreck everything and then step back and watch it. That's what he loved. If you're a lamb out there, those tigers are going to eat you. If that's the case, run. True. Like, run away. It's always know who you're dealing with, read the room, and come up with a strategy that works in that given situation. Sometimes it's respect. Sometimes it's let's not deal with them. Sometimes it's let's work around them. Sometimes it's deal with them on a limited basis, all of it.
I think that's one of the limiting things in clinical research is people don't realize, like, we all work together as a team. Every time. And if there's a conflict, that's going to delay the timelines. Because especially in the TMF, if they don't like you, they're not going to give you the documents. Every time. And then it's figuring out, like you said, questioning, like, why are they acting this way? Did I say something? Did I make are they having a bad day and they're just throwing it on me? Or maybe they don't understand what I'm asking for and I need to explain it a little bit more. I know our listeners are eager to learn. So let's dive into some specifics. What are some key strategies you've implemented to ensure not just compliance, but a culture of quality excellence within the clinical research industry?
Set the tone.
Set the tone. And how do you do that?
One, it's knowing who I am. Always being focused on my mission, my vision, my purpose every day. Walk it like I talk it. We say Becky and Nick are epic, and we both believe it. We've said it in presentations. We've written an article. We believe it. And I say it here, I believe it. Also, setting the tone is you know who you are. And when you know all of those things, Nick, what are they going to hurt you with? Let's be honest here for a second. Eminem is in the end of 8 Mile, and he knows everything Papa Doc is going to say. And then he uses it, and it doesn't bother him. That's power, right? But that's not power over other people. That's power over yourself. It's owning your story. I was embarrassed about my own story. Decisions I made, where I came from, stuff that I did, how I grew up. I own every bit of it now. I am proud of it now. So I step back and I say, what are you going to hurt me with? You can't. Okay, now let's roll. Set the tone and have a great team around you that believes in your vision.
And how do you do that? How do you get them on your vision?
Again, truth. Go find your players. How many times have I changed jobs in the past 10 years and the first phone call I make is you? Hey, you're not going to believe this. I'm at a new place. Can you come down here? No, John. No, I can't. Nick, are you sure? I swear, this is the last time. It's really the one. No, John. All right, I'll call you again. And every time I've changed jobs. Except this time, because I knew what you were doing, right? You're already filling the game doing your thing. You need the people on your team that are going to buy into your system. Sometimes the people there are not meant to buy into your system. So why are they there? You can't implement what you want to. If you have your people, bring them in. Look at how many people have been successful in a group, in a collaboration, that have changed places together. Because they know they work. They work well together. That's the group, right? Why don't you build a strong network? I mean, I'm going to throw it to you for a second because you are a huge advocate of networking and finding your people and finding your tribe. Why don't you do that? People don't, right? But once you find them, now listen, you're also, from a philosophical perspective, we both keep a really tight circle. I remember, and I'm going to tell this, I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to tell the story. I don't even know if you remember it. God, I hope you remember. I hope you remember it. It's like 2014, and maybe we're like 3 years into our collab. And I say to you, I'm like, all right, partner, here's 3 more. And you're like, partner? I was like, yeah, partner. What if I'm a bot? What? No, what if, John, that I'm not really real and I'm here and you're not a real person? The test. And I was like, what are you talking about? You're being so stupid right now. And I didn't see it like before. But it was your way of going, how do I know if I can let him in my circle? And here's the thing I've learned, ready? When people test you, it's because they like you. They want you to pass the test. Every time. Please don't let me lose my faith in you. They want you to pass the test. So now I look back, I'm like, I'm glad you did that. Right? Because if I would have got all upset, we never would have been sitting here right now.
No.
Right? But it took you to be vulnerable in that moment and me to realize, and then everything was good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, again, you find your tribe, you find your people, and when you find them, you hold them really close.
Really close.
Absolutely. Like, and here's the thing too. That's not a bad thing. Like I have said a number of times. I know. I won't say it here, but you know what I'm about to say. You're like, John, you can't say that. And I was like, it's my truth. You can. Please don't say it. My truth. But if you mean it and you own it, it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But it's your gift. It's the one you give. You don't do anything to get a reaction. You don't do anything to get something back. You do it, right? You do it because it's yours. So do that if that's authentic, and then let the chips fall. If you're being real and someone wants to hate it, okay, hate on me then. Okay.
Right.
Now, if I'm playing a game and you hate me for that, okay, you can hate me for that. If you have a hidden agenda, if you're like all that, yeah, you can hate on me for that. You can't hate on me for being real. You can hate on me for being real all you want. Okay, that's fine. So whatever it is that you find that, own it, and then do it all the time.
You know, I want to switch gears a little bit.
Uh-oh, I see the gears in your head turning as you say that. So I'm so interested where you're going to go.
You know, you've said it loud and clear in 2023 that was the year for you to go to Becky Level. No doubts.
No doubt.
And no holding back.
None.
And now I love the energy. But let's dive a little deeper.
Okay.
Like, what does Becky Level mean to you? Because we got to tell the audience, like, who's Becky? What's it mean to get to Becky Level? And how do you know when you've reached it, whether it's in your work, your life, or becoming this pursuit of excellence? Like, take us inside the mindset, the daily rituals, the commitment to being that absolute best version of yourself, just like Becky.
Okay, so that'll require a little bit of explanation. I have to give. So I have been a pro wrestling fan since I was probably 5 years old. I've loved the theatrics. I love the story. I love the ability. Like, to me, it's really performance art. Like, it's not a sport. It's really, like, if it was a sport, it'd be synchronized swimming. Because you have two people working together to entertain a crowd of massive people at huge events. And everybody knows that they're working together. Everybody knows it's a play. But they still believe it's real. They suspend their belief for a little bit, and they believe it's real. And the realest of the real is Becky Lynch. So I first saw Becky when she first broke in years ago, and I started to learn her story. And she got injured when she was overseas wrestling, and she quit. She quit for years, and she did a whole number of things. She was a flight attendant, and she did a thesis statement on clowns, and she was a personal trainer, and she took odd jobs, but she always wanted to get back in the industry. And she was lucky enough to get back in, and she was working her way up through NXT, and she got on Monday Night Raw, and in 2018, she got punched in the face. She broke her nose on live TV, broke her cheekbone, and she was rolling around on the ground. And at that point, she could have quit. She didn't. Now picture this, Nick. You're on live TV and millions of people are watching you, an arena's full of people, and you're legit hurt. And she stood up like she was a real life superhero with blood streaming down her face and all over her arms, and she stood on top of the arena and said, "Is that all you've got?" The way the kids in the audience, the girls in the audience looked at her. I was on my couch. And I said, I need a moment just like that. I need that. I need that. So I followed her, and I followed her, and I followed her. And finally, I went to an event that she was at, beginning of 2023. I'm in the 7th row. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I got her t-shirt on. I'm rocking her merch. And I popped my collar to her. And she goes, yes, you right there. Awestruck. That started it. I saw her later that year in May, and I was on live TV with her. And she came down, she grabbed my sign, and she held it up. I saw her again in Canton, where I was in the front, and she came over to me again. And she posed with me, and I finally got the picture with her that I've always wanted. And I got her hair extensions that fell out that night, and they're home in a plastic bag around her title belt that I have. But then Cleveland. So I went back and I saw her in December, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm in the front row. She walks in and I got my sign and I got my yellow hoodie on. I'm jumping and I'm screaming. And during the middle of her promo, she looks over at me and she winks. So I'm like, oh snap, she knows I'm there again. Kid you not, true story. And lights go off, camera goes out. She rolls out of the ring and walks right up to me. I didn't even think she knew who I was, Nick. She walks up to me and she goes, I just want to thank you for being so supportive all the time, and she hugged me.
That's what she said.
Kid you not. I kid you not. I have the video. I'm happy to show it if anyone ever wants to see it. So, to me, what does Becky Level mean? So, it means being the man in your own life. Her nickname is The Man, which is so ironic because she's a woman. She's got red hair, fiery. No one does smolder. No one does that look like she does. Grittiness, tenacity, being the hero of your own movie, but also continuing to be humble enough to elevate everybody around you and make everyone around you better, and loving the people who have supported you the whole time. I mean, she easily could big time anybody if she wanted to. Like, I still, when I see her, I'm like, that's Becky Lynch. And she knows who I am. I mean, you think about some of the things that you have. I can't replace it. I can't do anything different. It happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I call her Shira. You know that. She's my Shira. So what does it mean to be Becky Level? All of that. How do you know when you reach it? You know when you reach it when you're content with who you are and you don't have anything to prove to anyone anymore. I always said that what I've always wanted to do was not do anything and then get up and do something for 10 seconds and the world watches in stunned silence. That's Becky Level. To have people quote our articles that we don't even know, that's Becky Level. For people that will reach out and say, hey, you know what? Your videos inspired me. Hey, Nick, your article in Clinical Leader today was so inspiring that I reached out and talked to them, and now they want me to write for them. Okay, that's awesome. That's Becky Level. All of it. Like, all of those things. That constitutes being her. That's why I say I am her. I am.
What a good feeling. Like, you worked so hard.
Well, here's the thing, too, and you know this. I don't celebrate anything.
Right. We've written about this.
Because how many things have we written about? Because it's supposed to happen, right? Like it's supposed to happen if you do everything right. I believe still motivation is garbage. You follow the plan, you do the plan, you trust the process, you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and eventually something good's gonna happen. It's just what happens. So just keep doing that, right? And there's gonna be stuff along the way that is difficult, and there's gonna be things that you have to do. Just keep going, right? And you think about at any point, Nick, how many times that either one of us could have stopped for whatever reason. I don't know how many emails I've sent you in the middle of the night where I was up, like LinkedIn messages, Nick, I got to go in one more time. I remember when I was working at one particular place. And, I hated it. But I would email you every day. I'm like, I'm still here. I'm still here. What are you doing? Like, no, I can't. I just have to keep going. Okay, we're going to get through this. And it was every day. So you keep going, right? I say now, we can do hard things because we can. Like someone was telling me, John, you travel a lot. Like you're in Miami 3 weeks and you're home maybe a week and you're back. Is that hard? No, I knew what I was getting into. Like I prepared for this. Sure, it's hard if I didn't know what it was going to be. But they told me, and oh my God, I believed them. So with that, you mentally prepare for it, and then you do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you got to want it.
Right? You have to. Like, you have to. And, every time I would tag you on all my push-up videos on purpose for two reasons. One, because I'm vain and I wanted you to see me. True. But secondly, because I wanted you to know I was still working. Like you made the challenge. It wasn't done. We're going to get it done.
Put the work in.
You have to, right? And I remember saying to you, I walk it like I talk it. I do what I say what I'm going to do, whatever. Any one of those times I could have stopped. And I wouldn't have lived up to what I believed. And you could have called me out any of those times. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to the people I love. I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to keep my promise. And I'm going to do it every time. And if they don't like it, that's on them. But if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Right?
Right.
I think I've told you this. Have we written about this? I hate a liar. Have we written about that? I hate someone who says they're going to do something and then they don't do it.
Right. We probably have.
I have. Don't be that person.
Yep.
Right? So I never wanted to do that. And I just kept to it. And even still, I'm going to do the same thing I do every day. And it's going to work. And that's it.
So can you share with us maybe a favorite failure or setback that ultimately led to some growth or a positive shift in your life?
Wait, how bad of a failure do you want? No, I just want to know. How bad? I mean, ones we shouldn't talk about because I have a number of those. Or ones that are like a minor failure. And here's why I say it. There's many times. I'm thinking right now of 10 different examples that happened to me that now I look back and I say, no, I deserve that. I deserved it. I either got a little too cocky, a little too big, a little too over my head, got too big, couldn't do something. I got too afraid. The moment got too big, Nick, I needed out. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sabotage it. That's an easy way out. It gets too big, you don't think you can do it. Oh my God, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wreck it. I need an escape. I need to get out of here because I know I can't do it. I'm going to wreck it. That was the old me. Truth. Back to why. So many times I wrecked relationships. I think I wrecked hours. And yes, you look at me like that, but here's why I say it. I vanished. They don't know this either. You and I didn't talk for like 2 years. I remember calling you up and I asked you to forgive me. I remember I told you the story. I said, before we do anything, Nick, you could hear some stuff, whatever, but I need you to forgive me. You said you would, and you have. And I'm beyond grateful for that. But don't think I forgot the times along the way when life got too big for me that I got scared. that I had to get out. But that was all me, right? Now, like when I think about failures, it's, did I work on myself? Did I learn something from it? Like there's some things that you can't take back. Like words, there's some words you say that, Nick, you just can't. But other things, can you make amends? Can you show up different? Can you not repeat the same mistake? It's too easy to do that. Can you just not? I think that's the biggest thing about failure for me, is that, people say don't make the same mistake, but you know what? We do, because it's our faulty programming in the subconscious. This is what we think is supposed to happen, so we're going to do it, and we do it every time. Stop doing it. That's hard. Stop doing it. You can take your rational brain and say that this is what it's supposed to do, but then get in the situation, your subconscious takes over, what you believe to be true. That's what you got to change.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, I can sit here and I can tell you that I was John 2.0 for a number of years. The successes didn't matter. Anything I accomplished didn't matter. The truth didn't matter. As you do that and you think about it, take your greatest pain and use it into your greatest growth.
Right.
Anything breaks, like you break up, you do whatever, you take that and you channel it and you don't forget and you put the work in and you keep moving forward no matter what, no matter how bad it hurts. I remember talking to you. I remember telling you about it, like kind of skating around it. And you were like, John, no. And I was like, what? No, you did. Don't you do it. And I'm like, no, Nick, you don't understand. No, yeah, I do understand. And I'm going to die on this hill, and you're not doing it. Okay, I'm not doing it. That's what I did. I listened to you multiple times. Multiple times. I remember clear. Until finally that I said, no, I'm ready. And I didn't call you because I would have told you I'm ready. And you would have said, okay, if you think you're ready, do it. And I would have said, I don't think I'm ready. I know I'm ready. Keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Keep doing what you do. Let everything else happen.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you'd offer to those navigating the complexities of quality compliance in the clinical research industry, especially when it comes to the TMF?
Take your time. Don't rush. You take your time, you stumble. Try to get too big for how fast you can go. If you take your time, you only have to do it once. That's what I'm going to go.
Definitely an undervalued skill, for sure.
I mean, I tell you what, among all the skills you've taught me, and I sit here and I see the growth in you as a professional, I hope you see the growth in me as a person. That would mean more than any of the success I've ever had.
I think I told you the other day, I watched you for 365 days and you reached that level. Like, I've been watching.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. You don't know sometimes. You just keep going, right? You just keep going. I'm beyond grateful for you and this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
John, I'm grateful for you too. And thank you so much for joining me on the TMF Daily Podcast. TMF fam, this is one of those interviews that truly blows your mind. I know I personally will be thinking about this for weeks. John's view on finding your why and the importance of the TMF is truly motivating and captivating. Thanks for listening. And if some part of your genes brought you to this fascinating discussion with John Nocero on TMF Daily Podcast, then why not you exercise whatever counts as your own free will to share this episode with your friends and family. Perhaps your whole life has been building up to this moment. We here at TMF Daily would certainly appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram, TMF_enthusiast, or on LinkedIn searching my name, Nicole M. Palmer. But keep in mind that I am the LinkedIn TMF queen, and my DMs get nuts. So if you want to reach out to me and you want to make sure that I see it, try me on Instagram. This is your host, Nicole Palmer, signing off.